Cool. What is up, everybody? Thank you for being here on the Lulu and Brooke Show, where we talk about spiritualism, religion, mysticism, all that good stuff. My name is Brooke. I am a tarot psychic reader. You can find my link in the description below. I am also a wife, mom, dog mom, friend, and all that good stuff. And this is Lulu.
Hi, yep. I am also a wife. I am also a mom. This is Emma. She's my youngest of four. Um, let's see what else. I love all things spiritual. I come from a background of religious fundamentalism, Calvary Chapel, um, heavy on like last days and the end of the world and stuff like that. So coming out of that and just letting myself sort of expand has been my journey. And super excited to just be here and share and all that good stuff.
Yeah, cool. And I come from a not so religious background, and I
Oh,
have been an atheist most of my life until about 5 years ago, where I had my awakening. And this is where it has led to a lot of um, learning the self. So today, I think the first thing we are going to do is talk about what's going on within astrology right now and the energies that be and kind of how we're both feeling. And then we're gonna pick a card. We both have our own cards to draw for the energy for this podcast. And then we will be talking about child healing, our own children, everything pertaining to children, right?
yeah.
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 Yeah,
Like
cool.
style and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure. So within the astrology, we actually have a planetary alignment today.
candles, or do you want to do that before cards? Or do
Yeah,
you
we
want to
can do that before cards.
Okay, let's do that. Sorry.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
I'm excited because I have like a new candle.
nice. I just have this cool little candle. But yeah, we have a planetary alignment today, which is supposed to be lighting up the chakras and releasing, basically releasing anything big, deep, and heavy and dense within ourselves. So it's no surprise that we're talking about children today because truly all of the trauma stems from like our inner child, right? And we just had the Pisces new moon, which was yesterday. So that is also a lot of water energy. I think there's like five placements or six placements in Pisces right now. So it's a
Oh,
lot. Yeah, it's a lot of water, dreamy, deep energy. So
yeah.
I'm a Pisces, but I've actually been feeling really good. But I did get wrecked last week. So, and I had to like rest and chill out and stuff like that. How have you been feeling?
I know. Well, it is a new moon, right? Did you say that at
Yep. Yeah, it
yeah.
was yesterday.
Yeah. Like
So we're
I
still feeling that.
burn during a new moon. Um, and and I'm a Scorpio. So like
Yeah.
Scorpio and then being I can tell and like I haven't actually like charted specifics, but
Hmm.
I'm very aware of like, okay, it's a new moon or it's a full moon. What are my subtle like energies? Like what
Yeah.
is and I definitely notice I buoy in a new moon. And I
Yeah.
can't remember like I don't know like what the like full moon is you sort of
Release.
release
Like
stuff. Yeah,
a deep release.
that like I
Yeah.
get. Yeah, because
Yep.
every new moon I'm like I just feel like the energies are high and like I can
Yeah.
like I
Yep.
can and probably with all the water like I'm just like woo.
Right. You're just chilling, floating.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like on a raft like
Right. That's
but
exactly how I feel too.
really
Yes, yes, but also it's also like I realize stuff that needs to go because the new moon is about newness coming in and how can
yeah
we do this different? How can we do this different or whatever? So I can feel what needs to go and what doesn't serve me anymore. And I just had like a big throat chakra activation within this past week too. Like I literally felt like I had an apple in my throat. And I know that's also the collective wanting to speak who they are, you know? And it's like I had some stuff that I had to release because now I'm feeling nice and new.
yeah
So I'm feeling good.
that's amazing. I know
Yeah.
I feel like it's trippy being on a journey. And like you have like the things that are our responsibilities or like, like our kids or our dogs or
Yeah. Yep.
you just but we're never apart from like what's inside. Like that's always with us. So it's
Yeah.
just like it's so I'm just excited like to be on this journey, and like it's never like there's always something to not work on, but there's always something to like wrestle with and like
Yeah.
figure out,
Yeah.
and like
It keeps
know that
things
it's
interesting.
not. It does
Yes. Yeah.
like cool. So
Cool.
yeah, so I'm excited for like my throat chakra to like fully open, which I think it's really close, and I'm okay with just there's a lot of things that I'm like figuring out, so
Right.
it's I'm okay. I'm okay with however long or like wherever the journey is taking me.
Yeah.
It's it's exciting. Her throat chakra is it's totally fine.
Nice. Cool. Did you want to do cards now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Uh,
go ahead and light our candle.
ooh, and I was gonna ask you, I've actually never like so a friend gifted me with sage.
Oh, yeah. Nice. What a
Like, do you
beautiful gift.
I know. It's the one who owns the crystal shop. And
Nice.
yeah, so she
Wow.
and some incense and stuff. So do you just light the top and then just
Yeah, let me see what the other side looks like. Yeah, either end is fine. I just light mine and then eventually like I can cut this off if I want to, which I probably should, but you can
okay,
just go ahead around the outside. And I don't know, this kind of just comes off because it burns, like the
yeah.
string. So don't worry about it. I would just light it. But for sage and stuff, I get a torch like this. So I really light it up.
Oh, like light it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I know those
But it
ones.
looks like yours is going pretty good. I'll light my sage too.
Okay. I totally manifested
Yeah,
somebody.
man, that is so cool. Wow.
I like gasped when he like it was like a little gift bag and I opened it. I was like, oh my gosh, I knew this was coming. What's the spiritual significance of smoke and smudging? Like it,
Smudging is to clear the energy. So
yeah,
basically it's purifying. It's just purifying,
yeah,
really. Just purifying any energies that are around us, kind of like, burning up residuals around us, anything that we're holding on to, and then releasing it into smoke, into the vapors, into the atmosphere.
yeah. Okay. Talks all the time.
Oh,
She has stories to tell. When she was a newborn, and I still do it like when I'm breastfeeding or I just move my fingers, and
yeah.
I like just whatever. And when she was a newborn, like she just would just like stare and just like look at like at them.
Wow. Yeah, she's probably telling all the stories from all of her past
Yeah.
lives.
Oh yeah. All the stars that she was hanging.
Right. Aw, what a beautiful little being.
She's amazing. Okay. Good. Did you already light yours?
Yeah, I lit mine while you were looking at your
Okay.
sage.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you want yours first?
Sure, I'll pull first. Let's see what messages are coming in for this podcast and anybody who joins in for this podcast. Mm, this one. Eternal love. Okay, love knows no separation. Although you may be physically apart from a loved one, you are connected spiritually. Those we love are always present in our hearts. You shall meet again. How could you not when love is everywhere? Have faith in life, spirit, soul, and eternal love. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are so cute.
I know. I love them. This is actually from the Eternal Light deck. So, bringing in love for us. So, I was only going to pull one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just do the activations one.
Okay, cool.
Let me do that really quick and then I'll hold her probably. Ooh, this is so exciting.
I know, I love it.
Hard pull. Like,
Oh
I
my,
mean, not, but just
right.
like, I'm like so nervous. Ooh, one all came out. Oh, hold on. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna take that one. Delight. Ooh, like the colors.
Oh yeah.
The frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others.
Wow. Beautiful.
I love that. Okay.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah. Both of our cards were very loving and light.
Okay. Oh, and then I had a quote from
Yeah.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Cool.
Um, Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
Yes.
I love
Beautiful. Yeah.
it. And it came to me when I was meditating before how life is like the dichotomy of expanding, but also simplifying.
Yes.
So simplifying, not necessarily constricting, but just letting the things kind of shed, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
But then by that happening, then we can like expand, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Like
And
it's like so incredible.
and I feel like the more our awareness expands, the more we see that everything is right here with us, you know?
Yeah.
So then it's like, why make everything so crazy? Why make
Yes.
everything so hard, you know? Why have all of these things when you can just be and chill? And it frees up a lot of energy to live a simple life.
Yeah. That's what I was also when I was thinking of like doing a pick a card and light a candle. It just a little whisper. And I think it ties into the inner child too, of like, what are the things that like I let my ego be like, no, like you can't do that, you know,
Yeah.
even if it's scary, even if it's like, you know, just nervous, like you don't know until you try. And like you can only get better at things that you try, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
better, you know, like you can only get used to it. You can
Yeah.
only expand
Yeah.
when you practice your wings, you
Yeah.
know, like
And you're only frustrated because you can't do it right now, but the only way to do it is to practice.
I
Yeah.
know.
Is to actually do it. Like get out of your damn head and just do the
Yeah.
thing.
Like that's why they say the ego is a terrible master, you
Right.
know. It can be a good friend, but
Yeah.
like it's a terrible master. You give it
Right.
anything and it's like you'll just stay small and you'll stay in the
Yeah.
little, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Which let's move into our children and the
Yes.
inner child healing. So
Yes.
speaking of staying small, our
Yeah.
little babies, they want to be free too. They just want to expand. And I feel
Yeah.
like the role as a parent is to provide shelter for them, is to be their guiding light when they need, obviously teach them good from bad within ourselves and the energies of like you don't bully people, the
Yes.
golden rule, empathy for others, treat others the way that you want to be treated type of thing. And the restriction would be if you want them to be what you've wanted to be, which a lot of parents do. It's like, no, you have to be a doctor. You got to do this. You got to do this. And I was listening to Deepak Chopra the other day. I think that's how you say his name. But he was saying that for his kids, he's like, I didn't care about their schooling. I didn't care about anything. All I wanted them to do was know that they were meant to be here for a reason and to find that reason and to find that love within themselves and to live life within their heart.
Yeah.
So,
That's amazing. And it's so contrary to what you see in schools. And it took
mhm.
me, it like because this is the first year that my kids are it's a really great public school, but like high, like I didn't even know the ratings of it, or and you know, and even if it hadn't have been, like we would have, you know, everything works out or everything has a reason. But It happens to be like a really highly rated one. And just the push on academics, which is not a bad thing, like it's good to read, like
Yeah,
it's
right.
to expand your mind,
Yeah,
it's good to do all those things. Um, but I can also see that there's still that comparing yourselves to others.
right,
And they're not exactly like me, so
right.
like going to talk about them and I'm
Yeah,
going to, which I didn't really have to be exposed to because I was homeschooled my whole life.
yeah,
But it filled me with so much like trepidation because I don't and this is one thing. And my parents weren't like gossipy, but we definitely knew how they felt about other people.
yeah,
Or if a family was different or was had different whatever, like we knew we didn't hang out with them because this and this,
right. Yeah,
It's still judging and it's still separation and it's still like, oh, they do that, we don't approve. And I mean, there's one, like I get, like some people just don't meld. Like there's some people that I'm just like, oh, I don't really like hanging out with them, but
right. Yeah,
I made a very specific choice. Like I do, like my husband and I do not talk about people just in
yep,
general. Like there's so many other things to talk about,
right.
I feel like.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah. So like I'm glad that, but then it's almost like, and this is the cool thing, because then you know that the universe and source is going to bless that
right.
at, oh, like that, those are good things. Like when you
Yeah,
don't gossip, when you don't judge,
right. Well,
when you
and when,
them
yeah, and when you judge people, that's only going to bring more people into your life that judge you.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
it's true. And it's but like my ego will want to say like, but they're talking about you. Like
right.
they're judging you. So it's
Yeah,
okay to judge them. Like you can just, and it's like, no, it's not.
right.
Like
Yeah,
I don't want to.
yeah, right. Right,
Thank you.
that isn't us. We don't stoop to their level,
Yeah.
right? Because they're on a different level of consciousness than us. And if we
Yeah.
were to drop to that level, well, then we would be just as bad as them. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And with Andon too, like when he's at school, oh, I did want to say though that also Deepak Chopra's kids,
Yeah.
even though he said, there wasn't really any pressure on school, but he did say that they all went to like the highest
Yeah.
friggin' colleges and stuff like that. But also, I'm seeing this with Andon too, because I don't ever pressure him about school.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, hey, how are your grades? Just out of curiosity. And he's like, oh, I have all A's and B's. And I'm like, dang, dude, like, I never did. But that's because, I was pressured, but also I had so much going on in my life,
Yeah.
that school
Yeah.
wasn't even, and I had ADHD, which I didn't know about.
Yeah.
So, bunch of crazy shit. But where was I going? Oh, yeah. Andon sometimes will be like, Mom, I don't know if I want to hang out with this person anymore because they're just not being a good person. And I'm like, that's cool, dude. Like, you don't have to. Go where you feel good. Go where
Yeah.
your friends are going to support you. And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, I just don't feel good about if I'm hurting their feelings or not. And I'm like, well, that, you got to choose yourself.
Yeah.
You can't let them be mean to you. And then you gotta save yourself. You gotta do it for yourself. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oxygen mask. Like if you're
Yeah,
not being your own advocate, then
yeah,
you can't be anyone else's.
yeah, yep,
And you know how you feel. Like if you feel good, then keep going towards that. And if
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, I feel the most because during the time when my awakening started was in 2020-ish too.
Mm-hmm.
He was going into kindergarten and then I just felt very isolated and we kind of were like where we were like we had just moved and I didn't really have a community around me and I just back then I got really overwhelmed really quickly in
Yeah.
just everything. Because
Hmm.
I was overwhelmed. Like my inner world was I had no idea about inner world clarity or
Right.
like I didn't
Yeah.
know about breathing. I didn't know about it. It all was kind of woo woo and I don't know. Um so Daniel definitely like I made homeschooling so difficult for myself.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of missing like the foundation for math and like the building blocks and stuff. But I have to tell myself, so like we're not like where the A's and B's are, but not through lack of wanting, like and like I am blown away that not once this school year have any of them not wanted to go to school.
Yeah.
Like they are, and Daniel, like he shows up and he gives his all and he wants to, and like
Right.
we have like a little extracurricular thing that we do now. And like he's seeing how applying yourself and showing up and being willing to do what, like just to learn something pays off. And like he's
Yeah.
seeing how smart he actually, like he really is for himself, like not because I'm telling him or.
Right.
So like that to me is a win,
Yeah.
because when I was a kid, like I was really afraid of things. Like I didn't want to
Yeah.
try things.
Right.
And it was like just too much for me.
Yeah.
That's not, so I know like I'm breaking some generational curses, because
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
like he's willing to just put himself out there. And I'm like, wow, like
Yeah. Also,
I
I feel like that's in like that Aquarius energy too, because Andon Andon's a Leo also. So,
yeah,
but Andon will just be like he's not afraid to do anything. Like if he were to have to go out and sing karaoke in front of a bunch of people, he'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll go do that. Like,
yeah,
or within his class, like one time he got mad because he didn't get the award for, I think it was like for the best behaved student or best something, which I don't even know why they have those awards, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it makes other kids feel bad. But
yeah,
he's like, Mom, I didn't get this award, but this other person got it, and she's a liar. She lies all the time. And I'm like, Andon, it's fine. And he's like, and I'm a good kid. I raise my hand, I do all of my stuff. And I'm like, I know, Andon. I'm like, we don't do things for awards, though. We do
yeah,
them because it feels good, and this is what it is. But him, like when I was small, I never raised my hand because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah,
put myself out there. Like I was in my own world, like all through school and everything. So it's good to see him coming out and
yeah,
just being like, yeah, this is me, you know. But also, it's like, okay, dude, but it's okay if you don't get an award. It's all right.
yeah,
Like you're good enough. I know that you're good. We know you're good. Everything is
yeah,
good. So, yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So I have, let's see. So within our own, let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about helping kids process their emotions too.
Yeah,
So because processing their emotions, like I know that being an adult, we can be like, okay, but you don't know what you're talking about, you know, or just like shut them down, or just be like, oh, it's not a big deal, you know, but in their own little worlds, it is a big deal, and their feelings are like very important, you know? So
yeah,
if they're angry, instead of getting angry at them and shooing them to their room or anything, say,
yeah,
okay, let's talk about this. Let's yell about this. If you want to
yeah,
scream into your pillow, or if you want to go exercise or something like that, just so because their little bodies, it's like they don't know the world, and they
yeah,
don't, sometimes they just don't know things. So if they get like upset or whatever, they need to understand how to breathe or how to release those emotions so that they don't keep those pent up within themselves
yeah,
like
yeah. No,
like we did.
and I think even because like for myself and like I'm being fully vulnerable right now, like having four kids, um, you know, being on time to things and then being at the end of the day, like it gets, we're human, we're in a
Yeah.
human. Um, and we're not what's that word? Immune to feeling overwhelmed or feeling,
Yeah.
you know, I think we can handle it better when you learn how to calm yourself and
Yeah.
breathe. But if you don't, you know, like but even so, like you just at any, yeah, I mean, like sometimes I'm just like, and my daughter, she's a Sagittarius, so she's a
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
miniature her dad. Like, and they crack me up because like they will like butt heads the most.
Yeah.
And like it's basically like fire and fire. So it's just
Yeah.
like so annoying, you know, and I'm like fixed water. So it doesn't bother me at all. Like I'm just
Right.
guys are like, and then Daniel is air, so he just can kind of like ignite. Like he'll just be like, you're like, gosh, guys, you know, like, gosh, Gia, like, what's going on? And then Jake
Yeah.
goes to his room because he's water, and he's just
Right.
like,
And he's like, I want to get the fuck out of here.
and so it's just like we all kind of go do our own things. But like the fires, I'm just, and now they know, and I
Yeah.
tell them like, neither of you are going to stop. Like you have to
Right.
just walk away. Like
Yeah.
just let her go. She's not going to be like, "Oh, you're right, Dad." Like she's just not going to say that. Don't
Yeah.
expect her to say that. Maybe one day, but I
Yeah.
doubt it's like.
Right.
Um, but when she's having like and she can go from you know realizing like, oh, today was the last day of something and I missed out.
Yeah.
Like she'll just suddenly think of it and just completely be,
Erupt.
you know,
Yeah.
and just feel it to her core and you know, and if it's, I mean, typically if it's something like that, like I have like, I'm just like, oh, honey, you know, like I'm sorry. But if it's like she just decides she wants to do something or whatever, and like she'll just kind of spin out, like in a, you know, most I love her so much. But I do, I will have her like just, I'm like, just go to your room and you can do whatever you want in there. Like you
Yeah.
can like go get it out, you know? Like
Yes.
I'm in a moment right now too, and I
Right.
love you. So
Yeah.
just go, you know, like I don't, but I think when we were younger, it was more of like, don't feel what you're feeling,
Yup. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
like I might not be I mean, like I'm not quite to the point where it's like, and most of the time I know I have tried being like, well, here, let me give you a hug. And sometimes they don't want a hug, you know, like it's just
Yeah.
like they're feeling like I'm just mad and
Right.
and I don't really want that, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like I think giving space and
Yes.
letting them feel whatever it is. And I've noticed she talks herself down and she talks herself into a better space,
Oh,
better
okay.
than I could, you know, like just knowing. And I
Well,
think
that's
her,
good. She's
that,
self-regulating her
yes,
emotions. That
yeah.
is amazing.
So, and honestly, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
wow. So I just give her like I let
Yeah.
her like
Right.
go, and it's kind of like, did you see the cartoon Elemental?
Yes.
Yes, literally, that's her. Like just,
Yeah.
and then it's just like it's all out, and then she just comes back and she's like, "I'm sorry, mom," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I know, I'm sorry too," you know, like
Nice. Yeah.
I'm probably, but I love you, you know, and she's like, "I love you," and then she just goes and you know,
Yes,
and it's
whatever.
like, you know, and like I
Yeah.
remember not being able to do that. I remember it having to be like this grudge or like this
Yeah.
thing that you had to talk about. Like, why
Yeah.
do you do that? I
Yeah.
don't know why. I don't know why I do the things that I do. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just know that I'm okay now. Can't we just move on? Just wanting to move on. And usually grown-ups think like, no, we have to figure out why you did this. You
Yeah.
know, we have to
Yep.
make sure that I don't know. Like you don't always,
Or they just don't even face it. You know,
yeah.
like
Just
sometimes
go, oh, we
that's
just
about knowing your kids too. Like you're so good with understanding their placements, which is huge,
yeah.
man. And it's big for me and Andon too. And you have like freaking four kids, so it's like totally different from my experience. But my Andon, he is like, Aquarius, and then he's more Pisces, and then Leo. So when his feelings get hurt, like when their ego gets hurt, it's like someone just literally threw a bag of shit at him or something like that, you know? And also the Pisces is so emotional and he's air, so then he gets himself worked up and stuff. And
Yeah.
he needs, I know that he needs love, like actual nurturing for me holding him. And I'm a Pisces, so I love that too. So I'm just like, okay, come here, buddy. And then he can cry it out. But there was this time too, like Sammy's and freaking Leo and Aries and Scorpio. So she's all fire and stuff. And one day he was playing Fortnite and she was playing next to him. And he's like, someone just reported me for something. And Sammy's like, well, why would they do that? And she was like amping him up. And then he comes in by me in the kitchen and he's like, Mom, someone just reported me. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, right. And he's like, yeah, but it still makes me mad. And later I was talking to Sammy about it. And she's like, oh, I was like making it worse. Because she's like, well, why would they do that? You know, but it's
That's
like he was,
totally something that Jason would do too.
yeah, that's
Like it doesn't
hilarious.
really matter. Like, why are you even bringing attention to it? You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny to see all of the different dynamics, and everyone needs their own different form of healing too,
yeah,
right? So that's to take into consideration just how we do too. So, and it is breaking like all of the traumas and the stigmas and stuff like that from when we were growing up because we're actually being able to be here with our children. You know, the more we heal in ourselves, the more we can help heal that or help not let our kids go through that, you know, because it's kind of stopping with us because we don't have it in our reality anymore because we've healed the blockages or we are. So then it's like, how would it come into our kids if we're not putting that programming into them, you know?
yeah. And like, and you know this, and I just want to put it out there. Like when we
Yeah.
talk about our childhoods,
Mm-hmm.
we have so much love, like for whole family, our whole
Yeah.
family, our
Yep.
parents. There's never guilt or shame that we are
Mm-mm.
throwing on it. It's just the way it is, and
Right.
you know, everyone was doing the best that they could with what they
Right.
had. We
Yeah.
had very little in terms of knowing how to regulate and knowing how, there was just little, especially coming from, the different dynamics of like religion or, agnosticism or whatever. Like if you
Yeah.
don't have anything to, yeah. So, yeah, but like there was a lot of separation. Like I think when my mom would get overstimulated, like she would have to just go in her room. So like she
Yeah.
was in her room a lot, and um or if she would get upset, like you just knew she was upset, you know.
Hmm.
And I mean my kids know when I'm upset, but I mean I get over it really quick because I don't want to feel that way, you know?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the beauty of knowing like you're allowed to switch. You can
Yeah.
switch. Like, I love that. That was
Yeah.
probably the biggest revelation for me in realizing like you don't have to stay in
Right.
a feeling. You don't. That's
Yeah.
where we are straight from source.
Yep.
That's how powerful we are. And not that we are saying that we are God, like we're the God, like we're saying like that is a powerful state of being that you can feel a really intense emotion, negative,
Mhm.
and then process it and say, okay, all right,
I'm good now.
I'm done. And I'm going to put it over here and I'm
Yes.
going to go this way. And it's not bypassing. It's not
No.
like, it's just saying, I can switch this,
Right.
yeah, I think that's
And
like, yeah, no, go ahead.
And I think that it gets easier as we do it, you know. That was one of the big things when I first started out on my awakening. I was listening to a podcast called Spiritual Shit, and
Mhm.
she said on there that you can shift your reality in 5 seconds by shifting your perspective.
Mhm.
And but also it is like realizing, oh, okay, this is where this is stemming from. I've already felt that before. I've already healed it. I'm
Yeah.
good. So let me shift into a higher consciousness, a
Yeah.
higher state of being.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool.
It
Of
is.
that.
I know. I'm super I have to remind myself of the little curse, like I use words and I don't necessarily mean I know like it can be taken a certain way or whatever, but just those little ruts that have been in motion for so many years, for decades, hundreds of years probably
Yeah.
from and it's
Yeah.
just it's so exciting to like just be like, nope, I'm going to go this way. Like
Yeah.
we don't have to, you can just leave it behind. And
Yeah,
like
man.
the allegorical things, like in the Bible, in the sacred texts, and just where they say that, like they say just you just go down a different road, or you go down, you don't have to, you're not tied to anything, you
No.
don't
Yeah.
those are the illusions of like, no,
Right.
but this is so real. No, it's not. It's really not,
Right.
It's
Right.
like we infuse what we want to, but
Yeah.
it's real.
Yeah. I think that's why like inner child healing is so good too. Like just going back into time and holding yourself because really everything is now. So it's like everything is now. Then when we go back in time within our imagination or whatever, and when we hold ourselves as small children and we tell ourselves that it will be okay, we are literally going to that point within our brain, within our memory of that time, which is now, and literally healing that small self of ourselves
Yeah.
to where it can be a whole different experience. And we're really releasing that so that when we do think about it again, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened, but whatever. You know,
Yeah.
I healed it. I'm over it. But it is important to like those big traumas to like if it is hurting you so much within your life now, you have to go back and face it. And you have to go back and heal yourself and love that little you, that little baby you, so that you can be free from it.
Yeah.
So,
And kind of face it, I
hmm.
always picture like we build or we create, it's like a dark room, and you don't know what's in there, and it's like you just you go in and you're just like, what if it's like awful, like what if it's terrible? And then I picture like I've heard a couple of I don't know if it's like a real, I'm sure there's real stories of, but like where you know kids who have like kind of like a almost like a Tarzan type picture is like what I'm getting, or like a little kid who was left to his own, devices and kind of went back to, having to survive and
Yeah,
become, you know, um, and then like seeing that and not knowing what it is, and being like, but it's kind of like it's scary. But then when you flip on the light and you realize it's just a little kid who had to kind of just survive, and doesn't really
yeah,
know how, like, but all you have to do is just give it love. And then it
right,
slowly comes back to just like its original state,
right.
of just, yeah, that always, yeah.
Yeah,
Love that it's truly it all comes back to love,
yeah,
and like Jason loves watching like real true crime
yep.
shows. Yeah. So, and I do too. I mean, like I used to watch them a lot more. Now I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so heavy. Like,
I know, I know. Sammy was watching one last night. What did I
yeah.
do? Oh, I took a bath and then I came out and I'm like, oh, what are you watching? And she's like, oh, I just put on a movie. Like the credits were rolling. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'll watch it with you, you know? And then it was like some horrific shit starts happening. And I'm like, do we have anything else to watch? Because it's like, and it's like, yes, I can accept that this is the world and state, but it's like, do I want to get sunken into that world right now? And it's like, no, dude, I want to watch
No.
like something else. I want to not feel that
Yes.
heaviness right now, you
I
know?
think
Which
they're fire. I think they can just like burn it away as it happens.
yeah, I don't
And I'm
know what
like,
that is.
I kind of just like I feel it so deeply, and I'm just like, oh, and sometimes I want to be in that space, but then sometimes
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. I think it's our water because when that sinks into us, it's like we are like a glass of water. And if we have food coloring and if it drops into us, it can fill up that whole glass of water full of that food coloring, full of that
Yeah.
emotion. So it's like when I watch stuff like that, it's just like, oh no, this is hurting me. Like, oh God, I don't want to watch this right
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
then fire signs must just be like, holy shit, this is interesting, and just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like it fuels them probably to like, like justice and I
Yeah.
too. And I think I feel that a little bit more probably. I think I'm probably not less sensitive, but because I'm fixed water. So
Yeah.
like I have a very strong, and I have so much Scorpio,
Yeah.
um, that it does light me up. Like it kind of like does like a kind of fire on me.
Yeah.
And like, but I remember right before my awakening, really like letting myself tap into, and it hurts me now because I'm just like, oh gosh, but and I remember I was like, and this is when I was more on the right wing of just everything. And it would flare up my ego and I would go on Facebook and I could only do like one one reply. I didn't even post like my own. I would go into people's posts and like comment, and like these long ass comments. Like I don't even, but we all go through things to like
Right.
process. And I would just but I remember somebody had posted and it was such a sweet comment, but at the time, I mean, my ego was like, you're an idiot. I mean, literally, I was like, you're an idiot. But this sweet comment was like, and she was like, let's not forget that each of these leaders are really were once a kid and and God loves them like they're,
Yeah.
and she's like, and then she went into a little prayer. She was like, God, please bless Donald and Kamala or Kamala or whatever, Joe, and like prayed for them as if they were like little kids. And
Yeah.
I'm being like, oh my gosh, like that's not, they're adults now, they should know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I love when there's like a full circle. And it's like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
so
for
going
sure.
into to watching the stuff with Jason, like back then, if I watched something, like I would just be like, oh, they're so gross. Like that's just awful. Like they should just go away forever. And now, and I even, and like I comment out loud and Jason like will agree, which is really cool. Cause like, I mean, he's not very verbal about it. He'll just be like, gosh, I can't imagine how somebody can do that to their family or.
Right.
But then I always reiterate like, gosh, I can't imagine what their childhood must have been like
Yeah.
for them to be so tapped into the illusion that
Right.
they're in right now, to
Right.
cause that kind of harm.
Right. And honestly, it's like, yes, it's a real thing and bad things are out there and stuff like that. And I'm not desensitizing that, but it gets boring. Like it's all like the same thing, it's like someone's hurt, gets hurt, goes out and hurts other people. And it's like,
Where's the solution? You know what I mean?
right.
Where's the therapy? And
Yeah.
like it bothers me, and like I scoffed at this too, 5 years ago when it was like, oh, they want to take away all the police, but they want to put in this like foo-foo therapy thing. And I'm like, hell yes, that's what
Yeah.
we need.
Yeah. And the
Police
police need
officers
therapy.
too. We need
Yeah.
on-call counselors and therapists and hit
Yes.
on call. So
Right.
when something traumatic happens, we can vet it out
Yeah.
and process it in the moment. With
Yes.
Zoom now, we have all these things. We
Yeah.
need on-call hypnotists and therapists.
Yeah. And sound healers because
Yeah.
sound reverberates the points within the body that can clear those energies and get them out of your body. Oh. Yeah, man. We're working our way up there though. It'll
Yeah,
happen.
I know. I
Getting
know.
there. Yeah.
I'm just excited that, it's like that born again type. You can be so, your mind can just play tricks on you and you can
Yeah.
think one way and then through, just allowing love to really seep in, and to like be a balm. You can just be on the other side and be like, wow, like that's cool, like
Yeah.
it really does come down to you can't force people to like that's what I think is I'm just excited for more understanding of you got to let people do what they're going to do. Like you
Yeah.
can't help people. And the same with kids. Like
Yeah.
get control. And that was one of my I put my childhood. Like there was no community because there was no trust. And like my
Hmm.
parents were really hurt by outside forces,
Yeah.
and just betrayal. And I get it. Um, so, but I didn't, I'm learning now, and I love that I am open to community now, and it's not as, it's getting there, but like, I walked with one of my friends, and she's honestly more like I was 5 years ago, where like I didn't leave the house a lot. Like I just, I still love being home, but
Mhm.
like I have stuff to do, but I didn't realize how much connection I have made because we were walking out of school and like I said hi, I knew probably like 15 people, and I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And good name,
Nice.
and like just like leaving and she's like, okay, Miss Popular, oh, I'm like, I mean, like it's not even like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's really important to me to know people now, and
Yeah.
like and yeah, so it's cool to see growth and
Yeah.
not
It's like
so
a connection. It's like
yeah,
a connection to just be and to see people and to love them. Even if like you aren't like the best of friends or whatever, it's just like, oh, hey, Sarah, or hey, whatever. And it's like
yeah,
they say hi back and they're like, oh, okay, cool. It makes you feel good rather than everyone being, like this and no one saying hi to each other. Well, at least you can just be like, oh, hey, what's up, Shane? Or what up,
and
man? Like, what's going on? Type of thing.
and the reason and it was very much letting my kids sort of bring me out of like that reclusiveness, if that's a word.
Yeah.
And not saying no to their wanting to connect with
Yeah.
people, which
Yes.
is I notice, and like I know definitely like my mom definitely shut that down from
Hmm.
us. And like
Yeah.
I really wanted to be around people when I was a kid. Like I
Yeah.
loved it.
Hmm.
But it was just you just become conditioned really quick.
Yeah.
Um, you just know the things that become negative. Um, like if things get a negative response, can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. If things become a negative response, you just kind of, um, I don't want to do that again,
Right.
and get be a good feedback. Um, and so yeah, so my kids played a huge part, I think, in my healing
Yeah.
and sort of bringing me out of that, and which allowed me to like, no, this is important, like this is letting a new path be forged,
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna bring up too, like the only time that Andon didn't want to go to school was because he was getting bullied.
yeah.
So, and I had to like I'm like, okay, well, you let me know. Like the first time it happened, he was in 4K or something like that, and a bigger kid who was there with him,
Nice.
yeah, a bigger kid who was there with him kept hitting him. But like this was in the beginning of my awakening, and I was just looking at the time, it's 12:12.
Is it? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I know, but like at the time, I'm like, okay, Andon, you have to like, I'm like, why don't you want to go to school? Because he would like cry. And I'm like, he's a baby. Why is my baby not wanting to go to school? You know, when before he was loving it. And he's like, so and so hits me. And I'm like, what, dude? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go in there with you because we can't be letting this happening. And for me, I'm like, dude, fuck this. Like, someone's hitting my kid. But it was like when I was in my beginning of my
Oh,
awakening, and this kid pulled up next to me with his parent, and the it was when I was picking Andon up. So I went in there and I told him, I'm like, hey, I don't want my kid being hit. He doesn't want to come to school, and that isn't him. The only time that he doesn't want to come to school is because someone else is doing something to him. And
yeah,
I'm here to say, you guys got to watch this kid because my son shouldn't be getting hit, you know?
yeah,
And so they were watching him, but then it had me learn about kids are only doing this because parents are doing it to them.
yeah,
So this guy pulled up next to me. I came out with Andon and we were all lovey and stuff like that. And I buckled them in, and this van was next to me. He threw his kid back there, didn't buckle him up, closed the van, and all of a sudden I could hear yelling and screaming and stuff like that. And it just hurt my heart so bad. And I'm just like, okay, Andon, it's only happening to you because this is happening to him. And it's
yeah,
like, but we can't let that happen either. So fast forwarding to now, within the past like 2 years, he's had a different bully. And
yeah,
I keep trying to tell him, like, it isn't his fault, but just try to stay away from it, you know? And within little boys, sometimes they do need, like, I'm gonna teach my son if someone hits you, you hit them back.
yeah.
I mean, I would teach them not to, but if they do that, then, and if this kid is picking on you,
Protecting yourself
yeah,
and being
seriously,
yeah,
that's what it is. And you have to set these boundaries. And I'm like, you don't go out there and choose anyone to beat on or whatever. And usually I would say violence isn't even the answer. But this one time, and this kid has been hitting him. And again, a different kid. And I'm like, dude, like, we've talked to the teachers, we've talked to everything, and they're not doing anything. And I'm like, his dad told him to just give him one good punch. And
yeah,
I'm like, okay, Andon, you have my consent to do this. Don't worry about getting in trouble. So the next time this kid came up and he kicked him, he kicked Andon, and Andon's like, yeah, mom, I hit him in the head. And this kid is like way bigger than him. And
yeah,
then that other kid pushed him down. But the teachers actually saw this other kid do this to Andon and didn't see
yeah.
Andon do anything to him. And the kid got put in a different school now.
Oh
So,
wow.
and Andon said that he doesn't even have to deal with them. They're in basketball together, and the kid has been like really nice to him. And I'm like, sometimes you just like, they're little boys, and I don't consent to any violence, but I'm like, you have to stick up for yourself sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
that is
You,
that. And now you can breathe, go forward, everything's
yeah.
good, you know?
And
So,
boys are, more physical. Like,
yeah,
not that, like I just it's different. Like
yeah,
they're just makeup.
yeah,
And when you're older, you set boundaries. You say,
yeah,
you know how to, I mean, if as we get older, you
right,
just know how to be like, don't do this to me. Like you can
yeah,
say, communicate that. But kids, I mean,
right,
sometimes like get away, like go away.
right, yeah.
I think that's
So,
helpful.
yeah.
Yeah, Daniel had there was a few of the kids and like Daniel during like between 7 and 8 we were really just kind of home and like we were really gearing up to like move closer and like so he just missed out on like those friendships and like that buffering you get, from just being
Yeah,
around lots of kids. It's just
right.
different. You just like homeschoolers say you can spot a homeschooler, you can spot another homeschool kid because
Yeah,
it's just different. Like
yeah,
you don't know how to really hold yourself in like the
yeah.
bubble, like you're just kind of like, you're just used to like your own space.
Right.
So yeah, so there was one particular kid, and he was kind of a bully to like a few of the other kids, but
Yeah,
not in a really big school. So it's kind of like I feel it's kind of like a it's almost I don't know what what's that called? Like an anomaly school. Like it's really small. Like it's there's just, like when I always pictured public schools, I just picture it being a little bit more bigger and bustle.
Yeah.
Like you don't really know everyone. You know everyone here. You know,
Oh,
like
okay. Well, that's good though.
it is.
Yeah,
Like
Andon's class is like freaking 9 kids or like
yeah,
12 kids or something like that. So
yeah, right. Yeah. But that seems small.
it's very small. I think the town he's in only has like 5,000 people or like a couple thousand, maybe even smaller than that. I don't know. It's very small.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this one's bigger than
Yeah.
that. But I mean, compared to, I don't know. Like there's
Yeah.
not multiple classes. Like there's only two fourth grade classes, So
Yeah.
there's, so anyway, um, but Daniel, he, like because I always tell them like, if someone's being mean, like it's probably because they're not getting what they need.
Hmm.
Oh, in
Yeah.
some,
Right.
like maybe the only way that they can get, because he's not really like he's not really into sports. Like he will be. We just haven't, that hasn't been our story yet.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, so he would rather pretend, like he would rather pretend, Minecraft or like pretend they're like running away from something, like, so he's very like imaginative and like wants to direct. He's gonna be like a director or something when
Cool.
he
Yeah.
but like this town is like a football town.
Yeah.
So like the boys hit like third grade and it's like no more pretending, no more tag.
Oh.
They only want to play football. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like immediate jock initiation, which
Yeah.
I'm of course, like whatever. Like I think that's important too.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make other kids who don't like that feel like they're,
Less.
like
Yeah.
like, whatever, like
Yeah.
okay. Um, but Daniel definitely, I think giving him that space to sort of like feel anyway.
Hi, Emma. Hi. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi. I love you. You're such a good baby. Thank you for being here.
Good night. Mm.
Hi. Yeah. Oh, what? What? Oh,
She's like, oh,
hi.
like she's so small. She's probably thinking like,
Right? She's like, how is that human in that screen?
and she's used to me like watching like podcasts and stuff, but she's
Yeah.
probably just like, she's talking to me now.
Hi. Hi, Emma. Hi, how are you? Hi. Yeah, you're so cute.
Um, But yeah, and one time, the main little kid who was, and it's funny because he's a fifth grader, but he's like the shortest one. So I feel like maybe it's like, he's had to have developed like a tough exterior because I don't know, like you hear people like if they're not as tall as they are, whatever. Like I don't know what's going on in his, heart and stuff. Um, but they were like all kind of just like playing and his name is Dax and he did a really good like throw or something and like he had to run and like over towards us um and like I just was like ooh like good throw and like Daniel like Dax like looked and like he was kind of surprised that like I complimented him
Yeah,
because we'd had like issues and like me and another mom and he had bullied her kid too so it was like there was just stuff that was like
right.
in the air and he like looked at me surprised and he like kind of like grinned and like ran away and then Daniel like he's like mom that's that kid right and I'm like, "Well, I know but maybe he doesn't get maybe
Yeah, yeah,
maybe you don't maybe they don't give him I don't know, Bud, but he did a good throw. So,
yeah,
I'm not gonna say something, and
right.
maybe just, and he was just like, okay.
Yeah, that's how Andon is too.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's how Andon is too. It's so funny because I think Aquariuses are so for the good of
yeah.
humanity. They're like
Oh, very much.
so good. They are like the water bringers, That's
Yeah.
what their sign is, they bring life, they see the good, but when something is bad, it's like, oh, like I'm gonna save everyone
Yes.
here, whatever type of thing.
And I
Because
think Daniel, oh, go ahead. Sorry, finish.
no, no, go ahead.
No, I was just on that note, like we've been watching, we took a break because I think it started to get, and we started watching Stranger Things a little bit.
Yeah,
And he's my oldest, and like he's just always my dad loves creature features. Like I grew
yeah.
up, I told you about the
Yeah, the studio Hollywood
I like
or
film.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. And like my first like creature feature was the Blob from like the 50s one. Like I couldn't
yeah,
so like he loves creature feature. He used to work at Universal Studios. He loves like all that stuff. So Daniel just has it in his like genes. He loves
yeah.
it. And I'm
Nice.
like, I'd rather watch it together and
Yeah.
kind of nurture that and talk it out. But it's a pretty intense show. I'm
I
like,
love that show. Yeah, Andon's watched it too.
he has,
Yeah.
okay. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
but he did like any of the like high schooly stuff. He's just like, ew, like this is gross. Like the relationship, the
Yeah,
like
like kissing and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah, man, when me and Sammy are watching something and someone kisses, he'll be like over here and we'll be over here and he'll just be like just look at us. And we'll be like, "Yeah, don't look if you don't want to." And he's like, "I'm not going to."
yeah. He's like, this is gross, or
Yeah.
not like this is just this. Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
But like on the like with Billy and like things that like the intense bullying of or
Yeah.
whatever. He's like I'm just gonna. He's like I would kick his butt. I would just that's what I would do. I would just punch him in his face. And I'm like I know, but look at like his story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
His childhood. Like his
Yeah.
dad was not a cool guy. And he's like I know, but I would still punch him. I'm like, I love that you want to defend the kid.
Yeah.
That's good, bud. But
Yeah, there was this other part in school where where this kid was picking on one of Andon's little girlfriends, like
Mhm.
not girlfriends, but girlfriends, and he's like, "Mom, this kid was picking on Aurelia or whatever, Ariel. I don't know what her name was, but he's like they were picking on her, and I told them to stop picking on my friend." And this was when he was like 7 or something like that. And I'm like, "Did they stop?" And he's like, "Yeah, they stopped after that." And I'm like, "Wow." And I'm like, "Good job, especially sticking up for your friend." And he's like, "Yeah, I love her, and I don't want anybody to ever be picking on my friends." And I'm just like, "Oh my God, dude, like, wow." So, but also it is like, okay, we can't let the bad of the world hurt them so
Yeah,
intensely either, too. So
I
that's
know.
like a thing.
It's a balance. I mean, it's just a balance. Like
It
I
really
just
is.
but with what feels good. Like if I
Yeah.
feel like my own fear of like not wanting him to feel bad things,
Yeah.
and I just it was a learning turn for or like just like a whole learning curve for me because I kind of got away like I was really like buckling under just and I it was my own like guilt and like my shame of being overwhelmed like when he
Yeah.
in second and third grade
Yeah.
and him not feeling as confident as he could, like just all the things. And it's like, well, you know what? Life happens, shit
Yeah.
happens. Like
Yeah.
I know where we are right now, and we show
Right.
up and we put our best foot forward and we are there for people and we're good friends and and like truly, like it's not just, like we're not just like, and then coming home and just, being like it's really
Yeah.
like a core thing.
Yeah.
And I know that they feel that. And I know like that's where like growth and healing can
Yeah.
come and it transfers, to our
Yeah.
kids.
Really, I just think it's understanding.
Hmm.
It's understanding like even with the kid that he hit or whatever, like you said you commented or you gave that other kid comment or what is that called? Where you say
Yeah, yeah.
something a
Like a
compliment. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So they're on in basketball together and it's like, okay, yeah, he's done that, but we can look past it. So we root for all of the kids on basketball, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
Like this last time, my mom knows about him too, and my mom is like very hardcore sometimes, like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to go and whatever, someone hid in my baby type of thing. But we were there and they're all playing and she's like, "Yeah, go Dal," and that's kind of like his name and it's like you can look past it once you understand it, once they're not really there anymore in the picture because yes, you did stick up for yourself and you needed to set those boundaries because you can't be a victim to society. But
Yeah.
then we have to understand and we have to be the ones as parents to teach our children this is why it happens because of their parents. And it's just understanding, really. And it's helping our children understand because without it, that's where they can be misled and hurt and whatever from the world. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just knowing, understanding, teaching our kids, which
Yeah.
I think we're doing a really good job.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Aw,
He's getting
cool.
sleep.
Do you think that's it for this episode?
Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, I think it feels good too.
Touched on everything.
Yeah, I think so. Do you have any other?
No, I
I
think
think
that's
we're good too. My list is pretty checked off too.
yeah.
So, um, we'll
It.
see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys
Yes.
for being here with us. And yeah, peace out, dudes.
Bye.